The Keokuk County Expo in Sigourney, Iowa is the place to be this 4th of July, as they'll be hosting their annual 4th of July Truck and Tractor Pull, starting at 6:30 p.m. in conjunction with ECI Pullers Association and Twin States Pulling Association, powered by Champion Seed. And as always, there will be fireworks at dark. Spend your 4th of July evening in Sigourney, Iowa at the Keokuk County Expo with the Truck and Tractor Pull at 6:30. Hope to see you there. The Delta Fireman's Ball is Saturday, July 27th. You can enjoy food, live music, games, and more. There will be a poker run from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Keith Davis will be playing music from 6 to 9 p.m. For more information on the Delta Fireman's Ball, contact Jim or Fake Harry at 319-212-8772. The Delta Fireman's Ball is coming up Saturday, July 27th. Don't miss it. At Kaboom Fireworks, we love family, freedom, and fireworks. On top of our rock-bottom prices, we have Black Cat, Brothers, Sky Bacon, Fox, Takeo, and others, with everything from sparklers, parachutes, and snakes to fountains and cakes. Did we mention finales? Up to 1,000 grams. There's something for everyone at Kaboom Fireworks, with the best selection at the most affordable prices, where we cherish family, freedom, and fireworks. Open daily through July 4th, located downtown Watchie. Hello, and welcome to another sophisticated edition of Real Talk. I am Steve Shetler. This is my friend, Pastor Aaron Fleming.
Good morning, Steve. How are you today? Oh.
I should have like a pipe and a smoker's jacket.
Oh, yes, of course.
How you doing? It's Real Talk.
I'm doing good. I don't know why we're pretending to be sophisticated today, though, Steve. Were we trying to recover from our commercials today?
Yeah.
I noticed there was a theme. Like, if you have a tractor and you catch it on fire, or if you set off fireworks and catch your house on fire, the Delta Fire Department will come and put your fire out.
Exactly.
If you support the Delta Fire Department at their Fireman's Ball.
That's right.
So we have a comprehensive cluster of advertisements on
tractors, fireworks, and the firemen.
It sounds like July in Iowa is what it sounds like. So
don't set stuff on fire.
Yeah, be safe.
Be careful.
One of our city councilmen in Wellman was telling us last night at city council meeting about somebody in a neighborhood that shall remain unnamed who instead of having their fireworks rocket tubes pointing straight up, they had them on a slanted driveway. And so it's firing, firework fireballs over the neighbor's house.
Jeez.
So, friends, if you choose to set off fireworks this 4th of July season, please observe all safety regulations.
Hey, I should mention we are brought to us here on Steve Shetler Media by New Life Community Church in Wellman, Iowa, where this guy's the pastor. Again, Pastor Aaron Fleming. What's going on this week? What's up?
Well, I've got exciting news that I'm kind of pumped up about, and it doesn't have to do with being a pastor so much. It just has to do with my semi-professional, if you could even call it that, career as a novelist. Ooh. Ask me what's going on, Steve.
So, Aaron, what's going on in the world of your literary awesomeness?
Oh, well, I'm so glad you asked. I just finished the first draft of my third novel. So that was a big push, and I got that done. And now,
did you pull an all-nighter to get it done?
I was up till 4:30 on Friday night last week, and so that's not quite all night. And then I was really tired. I did not quite get it done in that session, so a little bit more on Saturday and worked on it a little bit Sunday. Well, I guess I was up till midnight on Sunday and then up at 6 o'clock Monday morning. So it was kind of a big push. I get in kind of a rush at the end, and I sort of skip things, and then I have my wife read it, and she says, it seems like you're kind of rushing. And I'm like, yes. Yes, I am rushing.
Now, is this a book that, and now you've done 2 others.
Yes.
Is the third in a series, or is this something new? Or can you tell?
I can tell you. So the first book that I wrote, the title is Kingmaker, and you can find it on Amazon and pretty much any other online bookseller. My publisher has got me on just a bunch of online platforms, a lot of which I've never heard of before, like Kobo. Have you ever heard of Kobo?
Oh, no, I have not.
It's like Kindle for Canada or something like that. So I am on Kobo and Good Books and a variety of platforms. I think Walmart online books. You can pick up Kingmaker is my first book, and there's a side character who's he's mostly just like the muscle.
Okay.
There's a character who's an investigator and trying to hunt down some bad guys, and Sergeant Workman is just kind of her sidekick, hired muscle guy.
All right.
And so I thought that I would do kind of really what I needed, Steve, was I needed a story for a short story, because I was trying to work on book 3. So I thought, okay, I'll just write like 10,000 words. And for people who don't know lots about the publishing world, my first book is 86,000 words.
Okay.
So by comparison to that, 10,000 falls in what we call the short story category.
Okay.
So I thought, all right, I'll write a short story about Sergeant Workman, and I did that, and then it just took off and turned into not a short story anymore. So. I got the first draft done, and now we go into the editing process.
Okay.
And I guess that's probably, like, you've written music and done recording, so
yeah,
I bet it's similar. Like you
this
lay
is
down
like the mastering and mixing process for you.
Yeah, now comes the mastering and mixing. I laid down the tracks.
Yes.
And now I got to go back through and figure out, ooh, that guitar lick didn't work very well, or
I misspelled that word.
It's amazing too, as much as all the automated spell checking and all that kind of stuff. As good as that is, you still have to get other pairs of eyes on it. And,
sure.
I think our fans can expect that to be finished and published in a couple of months. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll have that out, but people can track the progress by following me on my personal Facebook page, which is Aaron Fleming, and my author Facebook page, which is Aaron M. Fleming.
Okay.
Which I actually use less. So really, if you want to follow me, probably Aaron Fleming would work just as well.
Excuse me.
Another cool development there is I've got a daughter who's going into her senior year at Iowa State, and she's a graphic design major. So I had her do a little artwork that may or may not be on the cover, but I'll be prodding her to do a couple of more pieces for me to just kind of illustrate some fun scenes. And so I'll be trying to share those periodically on Facebook as she completes those. So
very cool.
Keep that in mind. So that's kind of what I'm up to creatively. Any questions? And I would be happy to answer questions that people in the audience might have about, like, how do you actually write a book? Or questions you might have about how do you actually write a book?
Yeah, it is. It's an interesting. I'm sure it's an interesting process that people don't know a whole lot about. It's just how do you character-wise? So, like, what do you base your characters on? Are there real people in life, or do you maybe use inspiration from movies and other books, or how do you come up with the characters and their personalities?
Every once in a while, I throw in something from real life, but you're probably not supposed to use real life people.
Yeah.
But if it's someone that's a friend and they have kind of a personality quirk that I actually sort of enjoy, I might throw that in there. Or there's a scene that I really enjoyed in my second book, Skeleton Company, also available on Amazon and all that stuff. But my dear wife Melissa makes a soup that is called nourishing chickpea soup.
Okay.
And it tastes about like it sounds.
Is it nourishing?
I mean, it might be nutritious. It might be nourishing, but it doesn't taste very good.
Did that make its way into the book?
It did. It made its way into the book, and a character complains pretty bitterly about the excessive use of turmeric in the nourishing chickpea soup that he has to eat every day. So I don't know if that was a relationship booster in my life or. But so how do you do it? All right, so to break that down a little bit, there's two general styles of writing, and one is called plotting, not plotting like slowly trudging along, but plotting like so you write out a plot. And I think you and I are both fans of who's the Piercing the Darkness guy? Frank Peretti.
Oh, Frank Peretti.
Frank Peretti, I think, is a famous plotter. Like,
Okay.
he spends a whole year breaking down each chapter. Here's what's going to happen in this chapter, and here's what's going to happen in this chapter, and so he'll come up with this extremely detailed outline, and then go back in and start filling in the sentences. Like, John walked down the street and. Whatever. I'm not going to do justice to Frank Peretti making stuff up off the top of my head. So Frank Peretti is a plotter, and then kind of what's more my style is called pantsing. And can you guess what pantsing is?
Is it like de-pantsing except opposite? Where you sneak up on somebody and de-pants them?
It's more like flying by the seat of your
pants.
Flying by the seat of your pants. So with my first novel, Kingmaker, I sat down and literally all I had was there's two guys hiding in the jungle.
Okay. But that was actually going to be my next question. If you just wing it as you were going and figure it out as you go. So this is what this is called.
Yes, that's called pantsing.
Pantsing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I started with the idea there's two guys hiding in the jungle. I didn't even know if they were the good guys or the bad guys.
Okay.
Or if they were good guys who had done a bad thing, which is sort of what I ended up with. But now that created a lot of rewriting of the first 6 chapters, because it took me 6 chapters to figure out who the good guy was and who the bad guy was. So and so there's two guys hiding in the jungle, and then I thought, oh, well, and there's got to be somebody chasing them, or why are they hiding, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just writing this stuff as it comes along, and so any plotter out there is listening is probably pulling their hair out and saying, how you wild savage, how do you also live in a pigsty? No, it's just kind of what comes naturally to me, and there's a great divide and many debates online, as you can imagine, about what's better, plotting or pantsing. Sure. And most people who want to be civil just say, well, you just got to find your own style. Sure, you just got to find your own style. So,
speaking of styles, then that'd be my next question. Do you, when I wrote music for my band that I was in, if I started into a song, I would usually have like another band in mind, maybe some Metallica or something, going through my head where I was like, I'm kind of hearing a certain style. Would you lean on your favorite authors to write your stuff occasionally?
That's a great question. So I'm writing in the fantasy genre. And I do read some in the fantasy genre, so some of the classics that people have heard of, George Martin, Robert Jordan, Naomi Novak. I've read that stuff, but I read a lot of detective and spy and police procedural kind of stuff. So when I was starting my current work in progress, or WIP, as we say in the biz, my current WIP, I was reading a lot of John Sanford, who writes about detectives in Minnesota, which is interesting. Like, he's not in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And interesting thing, John Sanford grew up in Cedar Rapids and got his bachelor's and master's degree at the University of Iowa.
Oh,
and
Hawks.
I think every one of his books that I've ever read, and he's got like 40 or 50 books, and I've read maybe a dozen. He always throws in a mention of Iowa.
All right.
at least in passing. There's one fun one where his character is just getting off the lake fishing in Minnesota, and a bunch of people are standing around watching a weather balloon, and they're talking about, maybe it's aliens, and somebody asks, well, why would aliens be floating over Iowa? And somebody else says, well, clearly not scouting for an NFL team.
Yeah.
So that was a sick burn. So long tail there. So I was reading a lot of John Sanford, and I was like, ooh, I should write a detective story. And I started the book as a detective story, and after a while I was like, I don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
As if you wanted to write a Metallica song but didn't know anything about electric guitars. Like, you'd end up with something else.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of back off of that and say, all right, I don't really know how to write detective stories. So I kind of settled back into the groove of my action fantasy adventure style. And but I think John Sanford has influenced me, just kind of his style and his pacing, if not the genre. Okay. So yeah, I read tons of Louis L'Amour books when I was a kid. Okay. Did you ever read?
Never did. I wasn't much of a reader when I was a kid.
Okay.
I was only when I was forced to.
Okay. So Louis L'Amour was he wrote from the 40s up until he died in the early 90s or something like that. So Western. So I read tons of Westerns when I was a kid. So I'm trying to just kind of for fun, I'm throwing in some Western themed kinds of things. Okay. I mean, we've got wizards and goblins and stuff, but Kingmaker certainly has a lonely widow trying to save her ranch, Okay. So the goblins have run off with her cattle.
Yeah.
So throw in some elements like that. Some of the military jackets are kind of designed off the old blue with gold trim that U.S. cavalrymen would have been wearing in the 1880s. And so I'm just kind of pulling some elements like that from my old love for Western stuff. So, yeah, kind of a mix and match and shake it up. And in the fantasy genre, you have to do something new. Everybody's kind of tired by this point of dwarves and elves that are exactly like Tolkien's dwarves and elves. That's been done. So you gotta find some ways to keep the genre fresh. So that's kind of what I'm doing there. So
interesting.
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking me about all that stuff.
You're
Steve.
very welcome.
Yeah, and you're a pretty good interviewer. That's nicely done. So we should probably wrap up today, but we do want to invite anybody that's come along for the ride with us. Are you doing any creative projects? Are you writing songs or painting or trying to write a book or there's so many different creative things to do, but if you're working on something, would you tell us about us in the comments? And especially if you've got a web page or a Facebook page. Hey, metalworking, if you're welding sculptures or stone carving or doing masonry or kind of anything that fits in the creative or artistic category, let us know. We'd love to hear about it and have you share right here in Southeast Iowa what kind of creative stuff is going on.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. Well, let's get out of here for this week. We'll be back next week on Monday. We're doing a special. This is a special Tuesday. As I spit and spit flies across. We're doing a special Tuesday edition.
Special Tuesday.
We'll be back on Monday for their next Real Talk. Again, we thank New Life Community Church in Wellman for sponsoring, and we'll see you next week. Bye, Aaron.
All right. See you, Steve.